have never been a fan of zombie movies. I don't know why. They just never appealed to me. Most zombie movies seem to be an excuse to kill indiscriminately. Like zombie, headshot, zombie, chop off his head, zombie, some other cruel and inhumane way to murder. But then came along Warm Bodies. Don't ask me why, because I can't remember, but I went and saw that movie in the theaters. Maybe I watched the trailer, but I highly doubt it. I don't watch trailers because they show too much of the plot and sometimes way too much of the climax. And I find I enjoy a movie more when I go into it with no expectations. I discovered this years ago when my sister worked at Blockbuster. Blockbuster was like Netflix, but you had to drive to a store to pick up your movie and then return it on time, or you would incur a late fee. As an employee of Blockbuster, my sister got 5 free rentals a week, and we used them all. One day, she came home with a Charlie Sheen movie called The Arrival. Not Arrival, but also an alien invasion movie. We had no clue what it was or what it was about. We loved it. After that, I decided to stop watching trailers. So I have no idea what made me spend actual money to go see Warm Bodies, but I ended up loving it. It was completely different from any other zombie movie I had ever seen. And on top of everything else, it was a love story. I saw somewhere years later after I watched it that it was a take on Romeo and Juliet, and I was completely blown that I had missed something so obvious. I mean, 3 of the characters' names was R, Julie, and Perry. Romeo, Juliet, Paris. Duh! The story is told from the zombie R's point of view. We call him R because he can't remember his name, just that it started with an R. He walks us through his world and explains his life, that he had friends and there were levels of zombiedom. He's at the first level, but eventually after being a zombie for so long, you become a bony and lose all semblance of your humanity. At this point of the story, you have the human survivors who are just surviving behind their wall. But out in the world, the zombies are also just surviving, making sure to stay clear of bonies. But one thing you notice as you watch this movie is that R isn't just surviving. He's trying to get back in touch with whatever humanity he has left. He lived in an abandoned airplane in the airport. He had a huge collection of vinyl records that he would listen to, as well as other trinkets he collected along the way. Like, he was a zombie with hobbies. He also thinks, has feelings, has wants and needs.
I don't want to be this way. I'm lonely. I'm lost. I mean, I'm literally lost. I've never been in this part of the airport before.
It's like his humanity is just below the surface, just out of reach. Except that he eats brains to live. When R sees Julie for the first time, it shakes him out of his zombie trance. He immediately wants to connect with her, but is attacked by her boyfriend, Perry. So he kills Perry and eats his brains. Then we learn that by eating Perry's brains, he gets to see Perry's memories. He likes this because when he sees other people's memories, he gets to feel their feelings and he just wants to feel something. After he comes back to the present, he walks up to Julie and tries to interact with her. His zombie friends come around and he takes some of his fluid, ew, gross, and puts it on her to cover her human smell because zombies can find humans by their smell. He coaches her to walk slowly with him and he takes her back to the airport and his airplane.
Be dead. Too much.
She's hysterical and wants to leave, but he tells her it isn't safe. After a while, she realizes he isn't a threat, but she just wants to go home. He's not ready to let her go because he just wants to be around her, get to know her. So he does this by continuing to eat her boyfriend's brains and see his memories. But eventually he catches up to his last memory and sees himself kill Perry. That ruined his taste for brains. So throughout the movie, you see R become more human the longer he's around Julie. The first night he brought her home, his heart beat once. Seeing himself murder someone in someone else's memories caused him to give up eating brain. His speech develops and he's able to say longer sentences and not just stunted words.
Oh, will you help?
He falls asleep and dreams. And R says himself, zombies do not sleep. They definitely don't dream. And apparently, humanity is catching amongst other zombies. It's funny how humanity can be caught just like being a zombie can. Because R's friend catches him hanging out with Julie and gets their other friends to attack her with him. But after his initial response, he decides he wants to protect her from the bonies just like R. Then his humanity is spread to the other friends. Until finally the bonies, who normally ignore zombies, walked up to them and sniffed them as if they smelled alive. Their hearts had beat a couple of times too before this. Eventually, humanity spreads to all of the zombies. They are no longer moving sluggishly in a trance. They are moving slowly but with purpose and performing tasks. And the bonies don't like it. Even though they are devoid of humanity, they still have intelligence. Because they're able to clock the change in the zombies and trace that change to R and Julie. So they gather together to hunt them down and take them out. But by then it's too late. The only thing they achieved was bringing the humans and the zombies together to fight the bonies. Other than having 3 characters with similar names, there were other nods to Romeo and Juliet. The divide between the humans and the zombies was much wider than even the divide between the Montagues and the Capulets. The first time R sees Julie, it's like Romeo seeing Juliet for the first time at that party. But instead of dancing, Juliet is killing zombies. R killing her boyfriend is similar to Romeo killing Juliet's cousin. There is even a balcony scene staged just like Romeo and Juliet, with Juliet on the balcony talking down to Romeo and trying to wave off a person talking to her within the house. How that reference got past me, I have no clue. In the end, R becomes completely human after jumping into a fountain with Julie. He goes unconscious, and when he wakes up, his skin is clear and his eyes change. And when Julie's zombie-like father shoots him, he bleeds. Corpses don't bleed. Okay, let's talk about Julie's father for a minute. He was a super strict military-like leader. He had this philosophy he spread to not look at zombies like they were humans. They were inhuman, corpses, targets for their guns. But in reality, he was just as soulless as the zombie.
You have any idea how much medicine the city goes through a month? We need pharma salvage to survive. We can't just abandon our...
You sound just like my dad.
Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't a compliment.
He didn't feel, couldn't be reasoned with, and was just going through life trying to survive. And I also find it highly sus that he decided to put his house in the middle of the survivor encampment. Not that he moved his house, but that he built a wall around his rich-ass neighborhood and made other people evacuate their homes to come live in his encampment. When R bleeds after the father shoots him, all of his men lower their weapons, except him. He doesn't even know how to comprehend the fact that these people who were written off as dead had come back to life. He doesn't even see how the repercussions benefited him.
What's happening is every day there are more of them and less of us. They are not curing themselves. We're their food source. They are not becoming vegan.
If the zombies could come back from the dead, so could he. He could put down his guns and start living again. And that's how the movie ends, with the humans helping the zombies to reclaim their lives and their humanity.
The humans began to accept us, connect with us, teach us. This was the key to the cure.
And blowing up Julie's dad's precious wall. So much to say about all of the metaphors in this movie. There's the obvious. People who seem to have no humanity. Notice there were levels to it. There were people who were past the point of no return, but the others were just moving through life with seemingly no empathy or feelings. just surviving to the next day. And the cure was so simple: letting someone else's humanity rub off on you. The zombies wanted help and wanted to feel human again.
Would you change this song, please? What? It's funny.
But they couldn't until they were exposed to one. Some people want to change, they just have no idea where to start. Sometimes it's just enough to be a human with empathy, and that could be enough to bring back somebody from the brink. One of the reasons why I like this movie and not other zombie movies, because the point of the movie isn't to kill as many zombies as possible and survive in a post-apocalyptic world. The point of the movie was to change the world through empathy. Lately, don't ask me why, but I can't seem to get Stevie Wonder's Love's in Need out of my head. And that song is perfect for this movie. It's about the world not only needing love, but needing your love to survive. So, did you like warm bodies? Or do you prefer the usual zombie core? Let me know in the comments below. Come back Friday when I start my Black History Month series on Black superheroes in DC Comics. If you enjoy my videos, please support my channel by subscribing or donating through Ko-fi or Cash App. Or you can purchase merch related to my fantasy novel, or just buy my fantasy novel, The Fairy Princess. And let's continue the conversation in the Fairy Princess Facebook group. All links in the description.